Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. As I always begin my classes, Trinadapi Sunichena Toradiva Sahishnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Hare Nama Hare Nama Hare Nama Eva Kevalam Kalo Nastyeva 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 Gatir Anyata. This chapter is entitled Lord Caitanya, the Original Personality of Godhead. Following in the footsteps of Kaviraj Krishnadas Goswami, we offer our respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Lord Caitanya. Lord Caitanya is described as follows. He is the only shelter for the forlorn, the only shelter for the most fallen, and he is the only hope for those who are completely devoid of spiritual knowledge. Let us try to discuss his great contribution of devotional service. The supremely powerful Lord Krishna is manifest in 5 different potencies. Although he is one without a second, in order to serve 5 specific spiritual purposes, he is manifest in 5 ways. Such diversity is eternal and blissful, in contrast to the conception of monotonous oneness. From Vedic literatures, we can understand that the Absolute Truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, eternally exists with his 5 diverse energies. Lord Caitanya appeared with full diverse energies, and they are 5 in number. Therefore, Lord Caitanya is said to be Krishna with diverse energies. There is no difference between the energy and the energetic in regard to the Lord's appearance as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his 4 associates, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Prabhu, Gadadhar, and Srivas. Amongst these 5 diverse manifestations of the Supreme Lord, as the Lord himself, as his incarnation, his expansion, and his energies, there is no spiritual difference. They are 5 in one absolute truth. For the sake of relishing transcendental flavors in the absolute truth, there are 5 diverse manifestations. These are called, number 1, the form of a devotee. Number 2, the identity of a devotee. Number 3, the incarnation of a devotee. Number 4, the pure devotee. And number 5, devotional energy. Out of the 5 diversities in the Absolute Truth, the form of Lord Caitanya is that of the original personality of Godhead, Krishna. Lord Nityananda is the manifestation of the first expansion of the Supreme Lord. Similarly, Advaita Prabhu is an incarnation of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, these 3, Chaitanya, Nityananda, and Advaita, belong to the category of Vishnu Tattva, or the Supreme Absolute Truth. Srivas represents the pure devotee, and Gadadhar represents the internal energy of the Lord for the advancement of pure devotion. Therefore, Gadadhar and Srivas, although included in Vishnu Tattva, are dependent, diverse energies of the Supreme Lord. In other words, they are not different from the energetic, but they are manifest diversely for the sake of relishing transcendental relationships. The whole process of devotional service involves a transcendental reciprocation in the relationship between the worshipper and the worshipped. Without such diverse exchange of transcendental flavors, devotional service has no meaning. Nityo nityanang chaitanas chaitananam eko bahunang yo vidadhati kaman. In Vedic literature, the Katha Upanishad, it is stated that the Supreme Lord is the supreme living entity amongst all living entities. There are innumerable living entities, but there is one living entity who is the supreme, absolute Godhead. The difference between the singular living entity and the plural living entities is that the singular living entity is the Lord of all. Lord Caitanya is that supreme living entity, and he descended to reclaim the innumerable fallen living entities. In other words, the specific purpose of the advent of Lord Caitanya was to establish the Vedic fact that there is one Supreme Personality of Godhead predominating over and maintaining the innumerable personalities of all the other living entities. Because the impersonalist Mayavadi philosophers cannot understand this, Lord Caitanya advented himself to enlighten the people in general about the real nature of the relationship between the Supreme and the many entities. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's last instructions were that everyone should give up all other engagements and render devotional service unto him. However, after Krishna's disappearance, less intelligent people misunderstood him. They became contaminated with Mayavadi philosophy, which produced so many mental speculators that people forgot the actual position of the absolute truth and the living entity. Therefore, Lord Sri Krishna himself, as Lord Caitanya, again appeared to teach the fallen souls of this material world the way to approach Lord Krishna. The Bhagavad Gita teaches that one should give up everything and be done with this world of material attachment. A pure devotee of Lord Krishna and one who follows the philosophy of Lord Caitanya are one and the same. Chaitanya's philosophy is that one should give up everything and worship God, worship Krishna. Krishna, as the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, spoke the very same words, indicating himself as the Supreme Lord. However, the Mayavadi philosophers misunderstood him. Therefore, Lord Caitanya, to clarify this situation, reiterated Lord Krishna's message. One should not declare him or herself to be as good as God, to be as good as Krishna, but should worship Krishna as the Supreme Lord. We make a great mistake if we accept Lord Caitanya as just a conditioned soul. He is to be understood as the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna himself. It is therefore said of Lord Caitanya in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna is now present in his 5 diverse manifestations. Unless one is situated in uncontaminated goodness, it is very difficult to understand Lord Caitanya as the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Thus, in order to understand Lord Caitanya, one has to follow the direct disciples of Lord Caitanya, namely the 6 Goswamis, Sri Rup, Sanatan, Bhatta Raghunath, Raghunath Das, Sri Jiva, and Gopal Bhatt, but especially the path chalked out by Srila Jiva Goswami. The most astonishing fact is that Lord Caitanya, although the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, never displayed himself as Krishna. Rather, whenever he was detected by intelligent devotees as Lord Krishna and was addressed as Lord Krishna, he denied it. Indeed, he sometimes placed his hands over his ears, protesting that one should not be addressed as the Supreme Lord. Indirectly, he was teaching the Mayavadi philosophers that one should not falsely pose him or herself as the Supreme Lord and thereby misguide people. Nor should followers be foolish enough to accept anyone and everyone as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should test by consulting scriptures and by seeing the activities of the person in question. One should not, however, mistake Lord Caitanya and his 5 diverse manifestations as ordinary human beings. Lord Caitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna himself. The beauty of Lord Caitanya is that although he is the Supreme Lord, he came as a great devotee to teach all conditioned souls how devotional service should be rendered. Conditioned souls who are interested in devotional service should follow in the exemplary footsteps of Lord Caitanya in order to learn how Krishna can be achieved by devotional service. Thus, the Supreme Lord himself teaches the conditioned soul how he should be approached in devotional service. By analytically studying the 5 diverse manifestations of the Supreme Lord, we can come to know that Lord Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Absolute, and that Lord Nityananda is an immediate expansion of the Supreme Absolute Truth. We can also come to understand that Advaita Prabhu is also in the category of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but is subordinate to Lord Caitanya and Nityananda Prabhu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead and his immediate subordinate expansions are worshipable by the other 2, namely the representation of the internal potency and the representation of the marginal potency. The representation of the internal potency, Gadadhar, represents the confidential devotee, and the representation of the marginal potency is the pure devotee. Because these are worshippers of the other 3 categories, all of them are engaged in the transcendental service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. There is a specific difference between the pure devotee and the confidential devotee. Different potencies of the Lord are engaged in serving the Supreme Lord in different transcendental relationships. They are situated in conjugal love, in parental affection, in friendship, and in servitude. By impartially judging, one can find that the internal potencies of the Supreme Lord, who are engaged in conjugal love with the Lord, are the best of all devotees. Thus, both internal devotees and confidential devotees are attracted by the conjugal love of the Supreme Absolute Truth. These are the most confidential devotees of Lord Caitanya. Other pure devotees who are more or less attached to Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Prabhu are attracted by other transcendental relationships such as parental affection, friendship, and servitorship. When such devotees are attached to the activities of Lord Caitanya, they at once become confidential devotees in conjugal love with the Supreme Lord. There is a very nice song sung by Sri Narottam Das Thakur, a great devotee and acharya in the disciplic succession from Lord Caitanya. Narottam Das sings as follows. Goranga bolite habe pulaka shari hari hari bolite nayane bhabeni arkabenita chand koruna haive sangsara vasanamo kabe tucha ape vishaya charya kabe Shuddha habe mana kabe hama herabo Shri Vrindavan Rupa Raghunatha Pade Hoibe Akuti Kabe hama bujabo Se jugala piriti Rupa Raghunatha Pade Rahumorash Prarthana Koroye Sada Narottam Das. When will there be transcendental vibrations all over my body? Simply by my hearing the name Gauranga. Everybody say Gauranga. When will tears incessantly flow from my eyes? Simply by uttering the names of the Lord. Everybody say Hare Krishna. When will Lord Nityananda have mercy upon me? And when will all my desires for material enjoyment become insignificant? When shall I be purified by giving up all contaminations of material enjoyment? And when shall I be able to see the transcendental abode of Vrindavan? And when shall I be eager to accept the 6 Goswamis as my prime guidance? And when will I be able to understand the conjugal love of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna? No one, therefore, should be eager to understand the conjugal love of Krishna without undergoing the disciplinary training under the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. Everybody chant the Maha Mantra, please.